Hey guys, this is Captain Fruit reporting for duty, and today I'm doing the top and bottom comics of the week of April 20th. Alright, so just so you know, these are just my opinions. Yours might differ, and that's okay. If you have a different opinion of the top three and the bottom three, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate that. Now, once again, I can't read every single comic, so if you've been watching these, you know I can only do what I have time to do in this short time, and boy, this week has been a busy week, so I was only able to read 9 comic books, but still, nonetheless, that was enough, and I will say this week was pleasantly surprising. It wasn't loaded with garbage. It had a lot of good and a lot of okay. Nothing really that bad of a stinker, but with that said, let's start with the top 3. The books I think that you would not go wrong with on spending your money. Number 3 out of my top 3, and by the way, if you hear any noise, just make some noise there. That's because that's my notes that I'm using. So number 3 of the top ones is none other than World's Finest from DC Comics. World's Finest issue number 2. This one, I'm not a fan of the writer at all. I think the writer's a bit of a dick. But the art was solid in it, and the story, it's actually pretty good. Especially I enjoyed the little conversational parts between Robin and Supergirl. This is sort of like an Elseworld story. It's not in direct continuity, but it's been fun. It's been interesting. And I gave this an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, an 8.5 out of 10. So we're starting strong. And that's number 3. So number 2, this one, I might get some heat for this one. But you know what? I love Captain America, and I'm going to give it to Captain America number 0. First of all, the art was really good in this issue. I really liked it. And some people aren't going to get and like this, and there's some things I don't like about it too. Don't get me wrong. But I like how the heroes, Sam and Cap, how they get along and how they show the respect for each other. These two, I would love to see more Cap and Falcon stories. I'm not a fan of Sam Wilson as Captain America. I know I get flamed a lot right off the bat because people think racism, and no, it has nothing to do with that. I've always liked the Falcon character. I've got Falcon artwork and action figures and everything else. I've enjoyed the Falcon character ever since I was a little kid, and I love when he's working with Captain America, because Captain America doesn't treat him as a sidekick, by the way. He treats him as an equal, and he has a lot of respect for him, and I think he just never really got what he deserved a lot in the Marvel Comics. But in the MCU, when people seen Falcon, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, Falcon's cool. And they had an opportunity to build off the character and build him forward to more people and widen his audience, and instead they crammed him into Captain America. They keep trying to do that, and I don't like having 2 or 3 heroes or more running around with the same superhero name. It dilutes the main character. It doesn't do him any service. It just doesn't do any good at all, but dilution of the character. So now when you hear Captain America, you go, which one? Now see where it should be. Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America, or Falcon, that's Sam Wilson. It really doesn't do any of the characters justice. It's just lazy writing. So I'm not a fan of Sam being Captain America. It's, once again, not fair to his character. I want more Falcon. And they really push they're both Captain America in this story, which does make me go, oh, come on. But you know what? I do still really like the character, and I gave this book an 8.6 out of 10. Now my number 1 book, the one that I definitely don't think you want to miss, that you definitely want to make sure you get this. And this one sort of surprised me that it ranked up this high. I didn't see it going to rank up this high, but it did. And that's The Flash number 781. The story had good art. It really did have a fun story. It wasn't anything that was moving a big story arc at all, and I liked it. I liked how they showed the connection of the characters. Once again, I like the buddy kind of thing, and I think we're starting to see a lot more of that in comics, and it's just these two. I've never really seen them together that much, but this just sort of showed there was a little disdain between them, and they sort of bridged that gap and then move forward some. It gives a little bit more into the Flash life, how he's what sets him apart and makes him different from the other heroes, where he's not necessarily waiting until an alarm goes off to run and save the day, where it's taken in a little bit of a different way. It wasn't an action-packed story necessarily, but I think it hit on the right notes where it needed to. And I gave this issue an 8.6 out of 10. I know some people are going, you have to give a 9 or 10 in this series, and that's because I grade hard. 7, is good. And I consider that 8s are probably definitely worth buying. And, 5s and below, of course, you probably should skip. And speaking of below, let's go into the ones that I think you should not bother wasting your time with. Just so you know, I did read 9 books this month. Okay, so this is out of 9 books, so just bear that in mind. I might have missed something that you read. So here we are, the bottom number 3. The first one at the bottom I gave to Shang Chi, number 11. The Shang Chi series has been okay to me. And just so you know, that doesn't mean this was a bad book. Matter of fact, I gave this a 7 out of 10. So yeah, the bottom 3 are actually pretty good for the most part here. A 7 out of 10. The art was okay, and the story has been pretty solid. It's been a pretty good story. I don't have any issues with it. I like how they've added a little bit more to the lore of Shang-Chi, give him a little bit more depth. Now, of course, I tend to be a traditionalist kind of person. I like how he started originally, but Marvel's had to shy away from that because they're fearful and they're a bunch of pansies, let's be honest there. But so I gave Shang-Chi, number 11, a 7 out of 10, being the number 3 on the bottom. Yeah, 7's at the bottom, so keep that in mind for number 3. The next one of the bottom of the bunch would be my number 2, and this was close. This was a real it surprised me too. This was close to the Shang-Chi, and that was the Hulk number 6. I gave it a 7.05, so it just barely it was barely under there. It was a toss-up between this and Shang-Chi. I know some people really love this book. I don't get it. It's not working. I don't like the whole ship thing out of the Hulk. It's just a little out there. But I think the art style does work for this type of tone of the series and for what they're going for. So the artwork is working for me. But I would say I'm not a big fan of this story arc. And I'm looking forward, though, to see what's coming next. I will say, even though I haven't been a fan of the story arc, I'm looking forward to the next issue because it looks like we're going to have another classic Hulk vs. Thor. Those usually are just fun, but this is going to be a little different than your traditional Hulk vs. Thor because remember, we have this whole different take on Hulk here, which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the last one ended. I think the Immortal Hulk ran too long. It was interesting at first, and then it really sort of just petered out, in my opinion, and it overstayed its welcome, and I'm hoping this doesn't fall into that same trap. So once again, the number 2 of the bottom was the Hulk number 6, and the bare bottom, the one that's just scraping the trash bin here. This one I didn't like. Okay, this is one I would say avoid. I gave it another shot, which is Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse number 2. I didn't care for number 1, and this one continued to disappoint. It's just not, is it just me, or is the multiverse thing been used up? I mean, it's just been used too much. It's past its expiration date. We've had enough of the multiverse stuff. Okay, can anybody think of anything besides multiverse right now? We've got movies with multiverse, comics constantly with multiverse. It's like, I get it, but it seems like writers right now are at the bottom of the well. They go, I could do weird things with this. And then they use this to make a ton of alternate versions of characters, which is, it can be interesting, but it's sort of tired too. I mean, how many different alternates of characters do we need now? Because the writers can't come up with a new character anymore? Or is it because maybe they don't want to? Because unless they got a special deal, if they make that new character, they're not really going to get much from it. They don't get much rights and things, especially Marvel. Marvel's been notorious for not giving creators much rights in the ownership of a character that they create. So that might have something to do with it. But this book is just not doing it for me. The art isn't anything special. It's okay. I don't get it. It's not for me. Maybe you love it. If you love it, let me know. What am I missing? What am I not getting there as a connection? All right, so just so you know, I'm going to read off really quick the books that I read that made up this this list here, and I read Shang Chi number 11, Spider-Gwen number 2, Batman and Superman, World's Finest. I read The Flash, 781, Nightwing number 91, Robin's number 6, Avengers number 55, Captain America number 0, and Hulk number 6. That's what I read this month. So if I missed anything I should read this month that I didn't share with you today, let me know in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you don't mind, thank these people right here, because without these people, this video would not be possible. These people help keep this channel going. They've been nothing short of amazing, and I really do appreciate them. And speaking of which, I also appreciate you. Thank you for your time watching this. And until next time, keep it frugal.